We want to go down and commit some of that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
All set?
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock.
Okay, everyone, it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the November 7th Board of Commissioner meeting to order. Today we'll start out with a prayer by Commissioner Sarkella and the pledge from Commissioner Ballard.
dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for the opportunity to gather in a free country. We ask that you would be with us, give us wisdom and knowledge to make strong decisions for friends and family that we serve. And today we're particularly mindful of the council in Applegate who gathered last night, and they all were wearing Team Claire shirts. We would ask, Lord, that you would be with Claire in her treatment for her cancer. She's been going through this for a long, long time as a young girl. It's very difficult. We ask you would place your healing hands on her. And we're particularly grateful for the citizens and our friends and family where we live, because they had a shirt that said, in our village, no one fights alone. And Lord, we know that you're with us in our county too. And in our county, no one fights alone. In your son's most precious name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Block,
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard,
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Gary Hebert,
Here.
District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella,
Here.
District 5 Commissioner Christine Lee, here, District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart,
Here.
District 7 Commissioner John Moody.
Here.
Thank you, Leslie. I do have one correction to our agenda under number 9, MSU extension, Carly Kruger, District 10. That will be removed. She will not be here today. That is the only amendment I have. If there are no others, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, supported by Commissioner Lee, to approve the agenda with one amendment. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Agenda is adopted. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve our meeting minutes from October 17th.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
A motion from Commissioner Heberlein, support from Commissioner Ehart to approve our meeting minutes from October 17th. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You received your correspondence from Jody through email the other day. We will move on to Commissioner reports, and we will start with Commissioner Ballard.
last Thursday, I attended a Argyle Township meeting. Not a lot going on there. Let's see, yesterday I was at the Marlin City Council meeting. They had quite a long discussion on their pool issue that they have with the pool lining. Their attorney was there and they're discussing what direction they want to go with that. They did receive, the fire department received a $20,000 grant for turnout gear. That was about it there. And I think that's it for that report.
Gary?
I have nothing to report.
Bill?
Buell Township gave us a good thank you for their sheriff's contract. They're appreciative of having that capability. And they also signed their election agreement. So thank you to Leslie for taking care of that for them as well. And they're spending their ARPA dollars. The parking lot is getting re-cemented. Carsonville is doing some ARPA dollars as well in their DPW office. Their water projects moving forward. And of course, they're continuing to deal with blight. And Applegate, I was there last night. As I mentioned, they passed their auditor and also spent some ARPA money on their HVAC system, and they're working on their trash pickup. They had a new contract they had to deal with. And the fire department served 436 at their pancake breakfast last Sunday morning. And Port Sanilac working on their water project. And they have 3 new council members now. So there's been some turnover, particularly, I think, around the CFA issue. And I just wanted to mention with that, Todd Hillman was really gracious to get back with me in regards to CFA because they're curious as to the organization of the Sandusky Fire Association over here. So Todd happened to be out of town, called me from the airport and down in Dallas, and we had a good conversation. So he's giving me some guidelines that I can pass on to their board coming up this week and next week in regards to what they want to do, because they have some new CFA board members now. And what they're really going to need when everything's said and done, hopefully, will be a 5th person on that board, which would be a community member at large. And that'll give them the power then to make decisions and move forward without any ties or controversies. So some good things going on there. Did you want me to talk about the golf carts at this point in time and
Oh,
our
let's-
needs?
Let's tackle that during committee reports.
Okay,
And then
sounds good.
we can make a directive to the planning commission for that.
Okay, and then one last thing, had some conversation in regards to some roads in the county. And there's a couple that have been not really abandoned, but not maintained, and some folks were interested in what the process where that was. So Rob Falls has been getting back and forth with me, and we're having some conversation on what the directive might be for that as well. So I appreciate the guys from our county helping out when we have a need. We can call them up and get some quick answers. So they're real good about that, and I appreciate it. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. Christine?
I attended the Elmer Township meeting and they were talking about the Marlette Fire Department got $40,000 in grants and they fitted everybody for turnout gear. They added blight to the winter tax bill. I did not make it to the Elk Township meeting or the Village of Peck meeting. My grandson was running cross country and I wanted to, he's been doing really good for a sixth grader. And I wanted to, it was a couple of really big meets. I wanted to see how he did. And that's it.
Very good. Thank you, Christine. Delaware Township in my district has held 2 community meetings to get public input on solar. They're working on developing a new solar ordinance. And I wanted to mention that today because I thought that was pretty fantastic at Delaware Township to take that on, to hold a couple public meetings, allow people to come in and give them an idea of how they feel about those types of installations before they start developing the ordinance. That's all I have. Evans?
I attended Lexington Township and Lexington Council the past couple weeks. Nothing pressing coming out of there, and that's it for those.
Good. Thank you, Evans. John?
Last Friday night, I went to Speaker Township had a meeting. They went in a closed session, came back and did public comment and adjourned, so it was not sure what they really even talked about, but went to Melvin last night. They were just doing some little stuff with their snow plowing for the winter, and they're doing some sidewalk replacement. That was it.
Great. Thank you, John. Appreciate everyone's commissioner reports. Nathan, your administrator report, please.
Yeah, thank you. First thing I wanted to let you guys know, the cement work has been completed down at the recycle center, so it looks very good. They got that poured last week. And Friday, so it looks very nice. It's going to be still off limits. They want to keep people off it for they said at least 14 days. So all the recycling is kind of routed in through the side road there. There's baskets, people can still recycle, but we're just keeping people off that cement for a while. Well, it sets up. Second thing, we had a meeting regarding the flag project that the school puts out on the lawns, the flags and the plaques. There's some ideas that are still being explored. Erin Carlson heads that up through the school, so she's looking at some options, maybe to eliminate the plaques, get a potential expansion on maybe this little monument area out here, or what it would look like to build another one, maybe around the other flagpole over here. So she's going to get some figures, and we're going to meet again next month and see what type of fundraising the school is going to be looking at for something like that. Last thing, just wanted to remind everybody, don't forget to go vote. Today's election day, so
Very good.
get out and vote. Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate your report, Nathan. Any questions for Nathan? Hearing none, we'll move on. At this time, I'll entertain public comments pertaining to today's agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Seeing none, we will move on. There's no need for 13A, 13B, or 14, which moves directly into general resolutions. We will start out with a resolution opposing statewide septic inspection code.
Apparently, I'm the chosen one to read this because 1 year, not too long ago, I got a septic field for my birthday present, so I get to read this resolution. Resolution opposing statewide septic inspection code, whereas there are currently pending in Michigan legislature certain bills, SB 299, SB 300, HB 4479, and HB 4480, which would impose statewide regulations for the implementation of and maintenance of septic systems. And whereas the Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners recognizes the importance of maintaining clean and safe water resources and protection of public health within our county. And whereas these bills are presently drafted, would require inspection of all systems every 5 years and would impose much greater expenses and work hours on local public health departments. And whereas the bills would dramatically increase the requirements for septic inspectors and make it much more difficult to find, hire, and retain qualified personnel. And whereas the current legislation does not provide a permanent secure funding mechanism to cover these increased costs, which will invariably be shifted to our local health departments. And whereas in Michigan, local governments have historically been the appropriate entities to regulate and oversee septic systems within their jurisdiction, taking into account the unique needs within their jurisdiction. And whereas soil types vary considerably throughout Michigan, making it difficult to establish generalized one-size-fits-all rules for septic systems. And whereas statewide septic regulations may impose undue financial hardships and burdens on homeowners and may lead to unintended consequences, such as potential hardships for low-income residents. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners opposes SB 299, SB 300, HB 4479, and HB 4480 as introduced, and urges the Michigan legislature to consider the costs of local health departments before adopting changes to the septic provisions of the Michigan Public Health Code. Be it further resolved that this resolution be forwarded to all Michigan counties, Michigan Association of Counties, members of the Michigan legislature, and to other relevant state and local authorities. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the proceedings of the Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners the 7th day of November, 2023.
I have a resolution proposed by Commissioner Sarkella. Is there support? Support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Leslie, go ahead.
In addition to the financial burden on the health department, I believe it's gonna be horrible on the residents. Because they're the ones that are gonna have to pay for the inspections.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and every 5 years is, there's people that don't know where their septic tanks are. This would be a huge issue. Yeah, sure. Any further questions related to the resolution? Hearing none, Leslie, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Commissioner Ehart.
Yes.
Chairman Black,
Yes.
Commissioner Heberly,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody,
yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard.
Yes.
Thank you, Leslie. Resolution is adopted. Next, we have a resolution recommending the distribution of the Santa Ana County Master Plan. About a year and a half, we've been working on this. This is an exciting day. Gary, would you read this?
Yeah,
please?
yeah, very exciting day, and I won't go into a lot of details. We've talked about it a lot in these meetings, but we're so glad to have the master plan done, have it for review. And about probably a year and a half ago, as you said, John, we put an RFP out to hire someone to help us put the master plan together. And actually, they were fabulous. And she's here today, Lisa Kenny. And Lisa, you've done a fabulous job. You've worked well with the steering committees, with our commissioners, with our planning commission. And I just want to let everybody know here, she's done a fabulous job with it. And we couldn't have done it without her.
We're not, definitely not as good as it got done.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we're so happy to have it done because I've been on the planning commission for, I think, 7 or 8 years, and we've talked about it for 8 years and finally done. So that was great. So I'll go ahead and read it. Whereas the Michigan Planning Enabling Act, MPEA authorizes municipal planning commissioners to prepare a master plan to prevent to the future development of the municipality. And whereas the Santa Ana County Planning Commission has prepared a draft plan for the county outlining the future visions and goals for our county. And whereas the Santa Ana County Planning Commission has its October 17th, 2023 meeting approved by motion recommending the Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners authorize distribution of the draft master plan pursuant to the Michigan Planning Enabling Act. And whereas it's essential to ensure that this master plan is made accessible to all relevant stakeholders, including government agencies, community members, and other interested parties. And whereas the Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners authorize the distribution of the draft master plan to the general public and the various entities as required by MPEA for review and current comment proposed. And whereas once the distribution period has expired, the Sanilac County Planning Commission will convene a public hearing. Therefore, it be resolved, the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes distribution of the draft master plan. Now be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the proceedings of the Sanilac Board of Commissioners this 7th day of November, 2023.
I have a resolution offered by Commissioner Hebeling. Is there support?
Support.
Support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none. Leslie, roll call, please.
Commissioner Heberling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ehart,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Chairman Black,
Yes.
and Commissioner Moody.
Yes.
Thank you, Leslie. Resolution adopted. Thank you, everyone. That will complete our general resolutions for the day. That will take us into committee reports, and we will start with Commissioner Moody.
Went to this medical care facility meeting on the 30th. They had that time, their census, down just a little bit, but not much. And then I went to the Thumb Area Regional Correctional Advisory Board Committee on the 18th of October, and it was a quick meeting. We just really talking about some pre-trial programming services that they're gonna try and start getting. That's about it.
Thank you, John. Evans?
I attended the HTC after our last BOC meeting, and it was their grand opening for their new domestic violence center that they put in one of their buildings next to the main building. And it's a neat area that they have. It's for victims that need to go somewhere that necessarily don't want to go to the hospital, but they need help. They go there. There's a nurse on staff. Everything is kept confidential, so no one will even know you're there. Opposed to like going to the hospital, you can see the public, and you still want to not be seen. So it's good for family, like again, for families to go there, kids, they help out with everything. And I thought it was a good setup. So that's all I had to go to.
Okay, thank you, Evans. I'll try to get through this quickly. So we had a personnel meeting this morning. There will be something that'll be on finance today, and it's related to our staff as far as buildings and grounds. We have a buildings and grounds supervisor. And then we had custodial staff, and there's a need for like a more of a middle ground. We need a supervisor, but we need one more person that can do more than janitorial services. Someone that can mow grass, replace a handle at a sink or whatever it may be. So you're gonna see that on the finance agenda today, and it is going to be for immediate approval because it's all kind of landing quite nicely. We have an individual that currently works in one of those positions that's leaving. So we'll be able to create this new position and hopefully hire a new qualified individual to fill that role. Personnel did a few other things that will land on finance in a couple of weeks. We also had a policy meeting this morning, and that was related to establishing a motto for the county, or what did you refer to it as, Nathan?
Mission statement.
Mission statement. And that's something that you'll see coming forward. There was also a technology meeting after finance today. And that is something that everybody here will see, and it is kind of exciting. We'll be deciding a vendor that will be supplying a new website for the county. So that'll be something nice to see coming down the road. Something else I'd like to bring up is we have our Buildings and Grounds Committee, which is Commissioner Heberling and Commissioner Sarcella. And I'd like you guys to consider pulling a meeting together to discuss, some of the building issues that we have going on. There's quite a few, and being that it is as complicated as it is right now, trying to get anything done, I think getting a few more people involved in that would be advantageous. So that's all I have for committee reports.
I had no committee meetings at 10, but I did swing by the Maple Valley property and it's looking nice. And I stopped and talked to the one neighbor that's been contacting me all the time. And he said the neighborhood is very happy and they're glad. And I told him that the brush that is still sitting there, that the fire department is supposed to handle that if they have any problems or whatever, to call Chief Todd Hillman about that. And that's it.
Very good. Thank you, Christine. Bill?
Board of Public Works met. We have no projects at this time, but we're going to be reviewing our bylaws in 2024 and continue to meet quarterly. Transportation, they have, one bus coming here soon, hopefully, and then we're expecting 9 next year. The advantage of that is we're gonna have new buses. The disadvantages, then they're all gonna be wearing out at the same time. So hopefully we can stagger some of that moving forward, but we're, at this point in time, the buses are so sad that we need to use whatever and take whatever we can get. Sat in on Mac Ag and Tourism. We had a presentation from the Michigan Association of Convention and Visitor Bureau, the director there, Larissa Draves. And continuing to move forward, since we don't have the beds in Sand Lake County to really receive any of the funding for that, we're going to continue to ride on Fort Huron's tourism down there, because they do promote the thumb and everything going on up through here, and it doesn't cost us near as much to be involved with that. So that was one thing that was suggested out of that meeting as well. And then SISMA, which is a co-op invasive species management area out of basically Bay City and the Saginaw area in regards to the bay. And since we're part of that watershed, I sit on that as well. Simply because it gives us information in regards to invasive species. So a lot of you might know about the phragmites that are growing in the ditches and so forth. There was a big issue with them at the state game area east of Sandusky here, and they work on different ways to treat that. And then hopefully that'll trickle over to us. And there's ways that we too can help and alleviate some of that. And then it also deals with invasive species along the bug line. So right now there's the spotted lanternfly, which is the thing that's coming in and it basically eats everything. So they're treating those as well. And then there'll be ways that we can help our residents here with circumstances like that, because we all were exposed to the emerald ash borer and what it did to the ash trees in the area. So we certainly want to try to catch some of that before it turns into a circumstance like that. And then I did have some conversation with some residents in regards to our ORV ordinance, and also tying into that with golf carts. So apparently we have an ordinance in the county which allows their uses, but not on M roads. And so with Nathan and Gary and myself and John, we've had some conversation, and we're going to try to pursue that moving forward. So, because what happens is if somebody lives on 25 and they want to get to a side road, if they go up M25 or 46 or even M90, they're technically illegal. And there's been some tickets issued. Apparently the DNR is the one that enforces that. So we have the authority, I believe, to have an ordinance which will allow use of those, so you can get to the next dirt road to be able to drive them as long as you stay on the shoulder of the M roads.
Okay, and I would argue that it'd be up to the county planning commission to investigate and make that modification to the ordinance. But before we do that, if there's any, if anybody on the board doesn't believe that that would be a good idea, opening up the MDOT roads to that, I'd like to know now before we move down that process. Does anybody have any concerns about that?
It's big, and like Bill said, it's big in Lexington all summer. It's golf carts going to businesses for dinner, anything in town, all the shows in town. That's what the people in Lexington do. And yeah, I'm going to be ticketed for it because everyone's doing it.
Right. And we are in an agricultural community where it's not abnormal to have non-automotive vehicles on our roads driving at a variety of speeds. So I would be an advocate for it myself to open it up. So
As Bill has already said, we've had phone conversations with constituents in our area and the same people. And I don't know how many conversations Bill's had with our state rep, Greg Alexander, but Greg said we can open that up with an ordinance that we can actually, if we stay off on the side of the road on the dirt, we can go a long way. So that it's up to us, and we have the right to change that ordinance. So
okay,
I think Bill and I are on the same page. We just need to cascade that information to planning commission and move forward with it.
so,
Yes, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just a little concerned about the safety aspect of it, but.
right.
Well, that'll have to be looked at. But right now, what drove this is we had a resident out in Bill's area. He went from one side of M25 to the other, and the DNR pulled him, won't give him a ticket for just crossing the road. So, we need to open that up a little bit.
And see, our master plan allows, our ordinance allows driving on paved county roads up to a mile to get to a dirt road.
Right.
And the M roads are not a paved county road.
Another issue that goes on with those is people trespassing, so they can get to the next dirt road. That happens a lot. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have side by sides and.
So do you feel opening the roads up would alleviate the trespass issue? Okay.
Yeah, you'll see
it'd
like
be a good point to
track
make.
along some place because everybody just does it.
Yeah,
And
Well, it sounds like we have consensus to move it forward. We also fortunately have our chair of the planning commission here. So Scott, the planning commission is being directed to evaluate this and come up with a recommendation and possibly amend the county's ordinance in that fashion. And that's something we'll work together on. I think the first thing we need to do is figure out where the authority lies and if there's someone at MDOT that we need to reach out to or how that would work before we get too far with it. If that's something you want to start with, and then in 2 weeks, we have our next county planning commission meeting, maybe. So we don't expect you to have all the answers, but if you had some context for us, we could start having that discussion in a couple of weeks.
And Scott, possibly you want to talk to Greg Alexander, but when he was drain commissioner, he was part of some of them ordinances back then when they put some of that stuff together. He seemed to have a kind of a good background of where we were and where we're.
Yeah, I think Greg would be a great resource because if you need to know something about the state, I mean, he'd be the easiest person to probably get that information. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate your time and your service to the county with what you do.
That's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you, Bill. Good report. Gary?
John, I think you covered basically what we covered in our personnel committee this morning. And we talked about the custodian leaving and revamping that to a different description as we bring on a new person. Thank you for getting Bill involved with buildings and ground. We have both the animal control building we're looking at the health department, possibly to revise that. So yeah, we need to get some meetings and get some plans together and goals where we want to go. So we can report back to everyone.
Yep.
I think we've got a good start on both.
Definitely.
Just need to tie it all together.
Yeah. It just happens to be the most challenging time ever to try to build something.
Yeah, exactly. It's in my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Parks and Board meeting tonight, right? Oh.
Yep, I'm gonna try and be there.
Thank you, Gary. Roger?
Yeah, parks tonight, last Monday, I had a community mental health meeting. The bulk of the meeting was reviewing the annual report. Again, those people do a phenomenal job down there. They just blow me away. They're getting positions filled. They're actually they have filled a couple of master's positions, which is pretty good for this area. So they work hard at it. Parks tonight, tomorrow afternoon, afternoon. I'll be going to Forester Park. I'm hoping that project's done tomorrow. They're supposed to be working on it, finishing it up. That's been about 3.5 years in the works. And so what follows that is a pile of paperwork to get reimbursed. So Evergreen, we're still waiting on the okay to put out for bids on that. All the paperwork's been submitted. Hopefully we can get that going here quickly so we can be on a schedule for next spring. I think I mentioned at the last meeting, the sewer project at Evergreen will be starting after Thanksgiving. Last week, I was invited to attend the Sandusky Lions meeting. They wanted me to talk about parks, which I did. And they learned a lot of things about our parks that they didn't know. So that's it.
Thank you, Roger. Before we move on for committee reports, Lisa, the renewable energy guidebook that we created in the county, when should we have the printed versions of those available?
You don't have them yet?
Nathan, we haven't received them yet, have we?
He was sending that last week, so.
He sent it and then I sent him the revision. And then I don't think I got a revised copy back from him. I just sent him, it was a minor revision.
Okay, yeah, they were gonna print them and send them to you, so.
Yeah.
So Beck and the Raiders physically gonna print the
Yeah, they're
copies and
physically
send them. And I had sent an email out to the board because we figured disseminating that to the townships would be best done by, handing it to commissioners. And I want to address something that obviously everybody's aware of. We passed a resolution related to this a month ago. The legislator is moving forward with the governor's proposal. We don't know what that's actually going to look like. We don't know how that's going to be applied in practice. So until that becomes clear, I would encourage everybody to kind of move forward with the rules that we have in place now. And even though it is unfortunate that they decided to attempt to meddle in local affairs, those guidebooks, even if this was to move forward in the way that people are perceiving it, that the state would have control of these large scale operations and the citing of them, the guidebook still has value because it really could be used to create just about any kind of ordinance. Also, what the state has done with the legislation is geared towards large scale development, 50 megawatt, 100 megawatt larger. So those guidebooks would still be advantageous for municipalities to develop small scale land use policy based on those issues. So I just wanted to share that with everyone here. And as soon as we do get those copies from Rowan, hopefully in a couple of weeks, everybody can start picking up copies. And we're also going to have copies of the master plan at the same time, right, Lisa?
You didn't get those either?
I don't
Those were both supposed to be sent to you.
The master plan is in my office, yes.
Is it?
Oh,
Okay, so we do have that.
Yep.
So we'll get working on that. I just wanted to address that. You being here, Lisa.
Yep, I will. Right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were in your box.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right here.
But wasn't the intention for these to be just distributed to the municipalities by the commissioners as well? So this is what we have, and I'm kind of anticipating that they would be maybe bound copies or something.
Okay, so I'll do that for you if you've got everything, so materials.
Yeah, we received those. There was like, I think 7 of them,
Seven of them.
7 or 8 of those. So
Well, we'll have a discussion later about how we're gonna get the rest of that. Okay, so that will conclude committee reports. Is anything further? Good. I see no need for unfinished business. We'll move us into new business. And we will start with FA 149-23, approval of 2023 current claims.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2023 identified on the accounts payable report dated October 31st, 2023 for the general bank account in the amount of $124,750.72.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 150-23, budget adoption amendments, appropriations and transfers.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and establishes the following accounts as listed.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella. Is there support? Or support from Commissioner Heberlin? Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 151-23, approval of indigent defense contract.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following indigent defense contract between the County of San Luis and Matthew Lozen and further authorizes the board chairman to sign.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 152-23, approval of renewal of recycling millage language.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following county recycling millage ballot question language for the year 2024 and continuing through 2027 for 0.15 mil, reviewed by the prosecutor and clerk to be placed on the February 27th, 2024 presidential primary.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 153-23, authorization of the development of a multi-county materials management plan.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes San Luis County to work with Huron and Tuscola counties on the development of possible agreement for a multi-county materials management plan. Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 154-23, award and authorized bid for concrete recycling center.
San Luis County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes Rick Capital Excavating the bid for new concrete and the removal of asphalt at the San Luis County Recycling Center for an immediate approval at a cost not to exceed $59,436 of funding from the Recycling Center millage.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion?
That's done, right?
Does that
And just so everyone knows here, we voted on that 2 weeks ago on our finance.
Yeah, I was like to address that when we have new faces in the crowd. So the Board of Commissioners, we hold a finance meeting directly following every BOC meeting, and we basically make all these decisions. They sit and wait for 2 weeks and then we finalize them at a BOC meeting.
Does that complete the concrete on the east side of that building completely?
Yes, so the concrete, the drive up and then the area it's drive in to drop. There was a pad that went all the way around for people to walk on to put stuff in the basket, but this put concrete through the whole middle, so there's no longer gravel there. Yes,
I haven't been down there in a little.
Looks nice.
it does look like.
Leslie, I lost my place. So we have motion and support.
Yes.
So, yeah, seconded by Lee, and so we just need to
Okay.
carry the motion.
Any further discussion related to FA 154-23? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 155-23, adoption of 2024 proposed budget resolution, adoption of 2024 proposed budget, county budget and general appropriation act.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the twenty twenty-four proposed resolution, the General Appropriation Act, and twenty twenty-four proposed general and non-general fund budgets. Further hereby schedules a public hearing on the twenty twenty-four proposed budget for December 5, 2023, and directs the board secretary to publish the legal notice.
Support.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella. I have support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? It's a little hard to believe that December's coming up this fast.
Yeah.
It's literally over with.
The whole year went by fast.
We must have too much fun up here. That must be what it is.
You're welcome.
You haven't, it really is. There's further discussion related to FA 155-23. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 009-23, approval of Sand Lake County Council on Aging bylaws. For motion early. You bet you.
Is it okay if I read it first?
I think we know who wants to support this.
He better support it after I read it. Jeez.
I'm just gonna jump in on it now.
I see it.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following Sand Lake County Council on Aging bylaws as presented, Sand Lake County Council on Aging and Nonprofit Corporation bylaws as amended. Or
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion?
You're not gonna read the whole thing.
What basically it did in Article 2 about members, it had a number. It said the 5 county commissioners would appoint 2, but since we're a 7-member board, so we eliminate the number. So if the board switches from 5 to 7 to whatever, that it just says each commissioner gets to appoint 2 members.
Okay, that's very good. And I appreciate everyone's efforts consistently through our committees, reviewing bylaws and making those kinds of adjustments as they come up. It's always easy to tell when a set hasn't been adjusted in 20 years. We start ready to do so. Any other discussion related to NFA 009-23? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 010-23, approval of Sand Lake County Drug Task Force bylaws.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following Sand Lake County Drug Task Force bylaws as presented.
Support.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Roger, you're on that board. Was it much of an adjustment or?
Just some cleaning up and clarifying some areas. No, not really.
Okay. Any further discussion related to NFA 010-23? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 011-23, approval of job description, drug task force.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following job description as presented. Director Administrator Drug Task Force.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion?
That was pretty much the same thing as with the bylaw, just clarification.
Updating and clarification.
Commissioner Black, if you don't mind, I would like to note, in Article 3 for the board's, attention, I guess, Section 2, it does talk about, a director administrator, may be removed by 2/3 vote of the DTF board for material breach of his duties and responsibilities. And then it talks about if required
Page 14 here.
by employment contract, the removal bid to the county board of commissioners for final determination. I think that's something that the board should be very careful when the contracts come through to look at, to see if that is included in the contract. Because I think that's a important thing. The board's involved in the hiring of the person. So if there is going to be a request to remove that person, I think it's valuable to have that land in your guys's lap, if you will, for final approval.
So
I agree.
the way I understand what you just told me is that the DTF board can make the suggestion, but the ultimate decision lands at the BOC level.
Only if, what was, I guess, changed here is it says if required by employment contract.
Okay,
I think that should be something that the board pays attention to, because I think that should be included in every
In the contracts.
contract that is with the DTF director.
Is it in your contract?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it is.
Right.
It will.
Oh, I answered.
It will be. That's how long that ITPC meeting goes today.
Okay, so any further discussion related to NFA 011-23? Hearing on all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That will conclude new business. At this time, I will open it up to general public comments. Are there any general public comments today? Seeing none, there's no need for closed session. There's no need for closed session minutes. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 1:39.
I'd like to have a motion for.
A motion from Commissioner Heberlin, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 1:39.
You want me to get into my township though?
No, just hold on a